So you said on the This Is 50 interview that Richard Porter's mother was like a mother to you, and that she actually raised both of your daughters, both of our daughters, is what you said on the thing. You said, I want to know what was that time in your life like, and what prompted you to have your daughter spending so much time with Richard Porter's mother at that time, at that point in time? Was it necessity, or was it more like a grandmother thing or something?
That's a good question. Can you hear me?
Hello?
That's an excellent question. Can you hear me? Hold on.
Yes, ma'am.
That's a good question. Hold on. That's a good question. Odin?
Yes, ma'am.
Odin, like,
You just called me old.
No, I want to say something about Odin, though, because, that is, I think it was the name of a Viking, like a famous Viking. Did you know that?
Odin is like the Lord. He's a god, and yeah, he's like a Viking god.
Yeah, yeah, the name. Great, a nice name. All right, so here's where the shit gets. This is where the shit gets messy, right? This is all right. So I knew Richard and his mother before A, but not Pat. So Rich was my friend, and one of my close friends who was like a bestie at the time, and I was young, like 16, 17. Her name is Michelle too. Lived on that block across the street. So me and Rich got cool when I was young. And so I used to see his moms or whatever. For some strange reason, this is why I say some stuff is just divine. It's weird. I never picked Vilma to be my kid's grandmother. So what you got to understand, like what you said earlier, was it necessity? Yeah. It was more about necessity. And it was Pat's approach. So it was kind of funny that, you know, Pat was known for fighting people who was, you know, fucking with A or whatever. But when it came to me, she had a special liking to me. And I couldn't understand it at the time. I mean, I got different answers today than when it initially started. I really feel like I was manipulated. But Pat was long gone about her business, you know, during the time this thing with me and A. And I know one of your followers had asked, was this before A got shot? So I was with A after he got shot, not before. So when me and A was together, and then I got away from him, I'm sure Pat heard about the abuse. I know she had to know. She heard about the abuse. There's no way she didn't know. And then when A is the first one who started leaving Asia with Velma, because it's like this weird ready-made shift family that we have, right? My kids are still over there. So basically, I don't have a mother. I didn't have a father. So when I finally got so tired of him, and I finally got the strength to leave him, it took a while for him to get it. He was taking my kid over there. And so, it kind of naturally.
You left him and went to Richard's mother's house?
Yeah. So you know how when the father takes the baby, you know, the baby's where the father goes. So it turned into like just sister, brother, everybody. So my daughters ended up, Vilma was the main babysitter. She became the main babysitter between delegating the responsibilities between me and A. Because I got tired of dealing with him. I just didn't want to deal with him at all. And so Pat's mother became that person. And of course, Pat is in it, you know.
Absolutely.
We both have daughters. Our daughters are sisters. So it's just family. So it's like, okay, we just got to keep doing this. That's how it's kids involved. So we just had to keep doing it. So that's how that happened. It happened out of necessity. If I could do it over, I don't think I would have did it that way. No. I would have just tried to find a better way. But it just really wasn't any better way with what my work and different stuff. You know, her being centralized right there on 132nd Street made it easy, you know, for me to drop her off in the car. If I couldn't get there on time, pick them up. You know, and this is what makes this thing, you know, so horrible, because it's similar to what happened with my father and what he did to my mother. I had to grow up with my father's mother after he basically killed my mother and his second wife. So it was like a taboo situation. So I grew up from small not being able to be honest or expressive about what was going on because the situation is so sticky. You know, it's just so sticky. So that's what ended up happening. Velma ended up being like a grandmother to my kids. Richard was already dead by now. Richard never knew. Richard never got to know, but Richard did know some other things, but I'm not going to discuss right now today. You know, like how they try to make it out like Richard and A was so tight. But that's another story. Maybe we'll get to it. I'm not going to do it here. You already know. It's not really, nah. So, but anyway, God bless Rich. He was not here. A lot of the stuff that transpired or whatever, with A and me is, you know, very, very mixy. But yeah, so Velma was the only really like the last resort, you know, that was it. I mean, it was already family because Laurel is like, you know, my daughter, even though that's Pat's daughter. But when Pat was running around, I was home with her daughter. So, who is now 30 or something like that. So yeah, so then she ended up with my daughter. So that's just how it is. But we definitely fell out and had some disagreements about exposing him. Because some people rather keep on pretending so they could party and glorify paid in full and not really want to get to the truth to fulfill a purpose of what happened in those streets, right? People just want to celebrate who's the best drug dealer. Like, that shit is ridiculous to me. Like, you got to be kidding me. Like, I mean, why are we celebrating it? Do we realize what happened here? Like, what the fuck are we doing?